How is everybody? I see Portugal, London, Germany, Mexico, USA. Oh my God. Like, I think we got the whole globe covered. This is beautiful. Uh, so welcome everybody. We have a absolute gem with us today, a great guest. He's also known as the Viking, but he's also one hell of an amazing human being. If you look up the word love in a dictionary, you'll probably find his face in there. So anyway, I wanted to let you know that today we're going to learn something very special. Um, Fermentation. Okay, so pickling and fermentation is obviously not the most interesting subject in the world. I get it, it's not a problem. But guess what? Egyptians were doing it thousands and thousands of years ago. It's how we became um, more aware of how we utilize food and transport food. So, what's interesting about fermentation is it's pretty much involved in everything, you know, winemaking, all the way through chocolate making and everything else that we're going to learn today. So with that said, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce our guest. By the way, I'm Bertie DeQuay, founder of Sommtable. We are on a mission. Our mission is to create a community inspired by passionate experts of wine, spirits, coffee, chocolates, and much more. So Simon Kistenfeger, who is currently in Bavaria, Germany. So first of all, thank you very much, Simon, for being up this late, and everybody else. I know there's a lot of people in different time zones, but thank you so much for being here with us today. You're also known as a bartender in the bartender scene as the German Viking. So you're going to have to give us a little story on that. You've been in the industry for way over a decade. You've accomplished many competitions in several first place awards for an elite showcases reflecting your skill and your ambition. Your motto is life is a journey, not a destination. That's very true. You steer into travel, and you've made, I think, a whole career of a few years before being full-time where you are now in exploring Europe, Australia, Asia, and Latin America. And then that's where I know you've really garnished this experience that you have with us. In 2018, you came back to your hometown, Germany, in Bavaria, where you started a company called Mucho Amor, which is basically focused on food and music events. Exactly what we do. You know, we love music and we love food and wine and events. In 2019, you also opened up a very interesting vegan-based cocktail bar. I gotta find out what that's like. And also, you specialize in in various coffee venues, which you've appeared on different magazines and national television to speak about. So also, we're very curious about that. Simon is also a passionate chef. He appeared in a number of food pairing events and also with other amazing chefs around the world, which we'll let you know about. And I think, Simon, you've visited probably way over 100 distilleries from around the world. You've completed many bar and barista training programs. You also a certified sake sommelier, if I'm not mistaken. A sake sommelier, I love those. I love sake. 3 years ago, you also became a global ambassador for Olmeca tequila. And so I could go on and on, Simon, but with all that said, welcome. And I appreciate having you here today. Simon?
Thank you for the introduction. And yeah, hello everybody. So welcome to the fermenting class by Sommtable. And yeah, first of all, um, big up to the amazing platform Sommtable that you guys created. Like yeah, the idea is that everyone around can gain some useful knowledge for free. And yeah, like I'm very thankful for this opportunity that I can present you this masterclass and share some knowledge. I checked out already some other sessions on these platforms where presenter totally put their heart and soul into it, and yeah, it's really amazing. It's for free. That the first classes are for free, so really amazing platform, and yeah, you can use it wisely. I've seen like online sessions for really top dollar like this, so appreciate it. It's free knowledge, and you're not doing something wrong. And yeah, the next 45 minutes to an hour, like we're gonna have a look in this really exciting topic, which is fermenting and pickling. This will fly away very quickly, so I would recommend you guys to grab a sheet and a pen and write down everything which seems interesting for you guys. Yeah, for me, it's a super effective way. Awesome. Super effective way when I write down things. Yeah, so basically in this session, what you will gain is basic knowledge on the topic. And yeah, you will be also able to do your first delicious ferments straight after this session. Basically, yeah, you introduced me already. The name, the surname is Kistenfeger. It's quite hard, but I always compare it. If you know how to pronounce Schwarzenegger, then Kistenfeger could be easy. But anyway, you will remember the name, and yeah. So yeah, over a decade ago, like as you mentioned, I became a bartender, and I got fascinated by the spirit industry. You already mentioned, like I'm the co-owner of a bar and also event company. Then I'm still working with Olmeca Altos, and I'm having a consultant agency. Yeah, but quickly I will tell you how I got involved with the fermentation. So my mom grew up on a farm, and I was always super fascinated by all the jars my grandparents had in their shelf. And yeah, it was like, let's say until I was 23, 24, I was like totally put off by ferments, by the smell, and the taste was funky, bitter, and yeah, the smell kind of strange. But yeah, through my travelings, yeah, by now over 80 countries, I really got in touch with truly amazing food specialists, I would say, yeah, who took me away and took away the fear of this process. Like from Turkey, Lebanon, all over Asia, Korea, for example, kimchi, or biltong in Africa, Central Eastern Europe, or in Germany, even we have sauerkraut. Sicily, they have amazing pickled aubergines, so I love to go there every year almost. Then we have in the Dutch, the pickled herring. The US and Canada, you have a lot of pickles, like pickled cucumbers. And South America, you have sweet pickles. Then, or if you're in Mexico, you will say curtidos in a taqueria, ceviche in Peru. So this list can go on and on. And yeah, I met chefs, I met bartender, restaurant owner, and wine producer, and a lot of them shared with me their favorite recipes, and I started really to like it. And yeah, we organizing food truck events also. And with my bar, obviously, as we are vegan, we have to kind of tickle the receptors in a different way, like, because you have to implement flavors in a different way, and ferments are amazing. And today I will share with you some recipes. So enough talk about the theory. I think we have a little bit more theory, obviously, because I think it's very important that you know a bit of the chemistry behind it. But it does not hurt you if you know a little bit what's actually going on, and it can actually take away the fear also. So yeah, the first question we should answer is like, what is fermentation actually? So basically you can say fermentation is the process in which a substance breaks down into a simpler substance. Let's say acidity, gases, alcohol, like basically something is going on with your food, and you need something taking part. So normally what's happening, microorganisms like yeast, lactic, bacteria, they play a huge role in the fermentation process. And basically what they do, they turn the sugar into acid, like acid giving lactose fermentation. It's sourness, So the question is, what actually happens? Basically you preserve or extend the shelf life of food. Yeah, we will do a couple of them today. Let's talk quickly about a couple of ways how you can do it. So you have the anaerobic fermentation, like you use a brine or the immersion in vinegar, And yeah, so what happens? The pickling process, it actually affects the texture, the taste, and the flavor of the food. And what we want to kill all the harmful bacteria. We only want good bacteria. And this is like a thing a lot of guys get put off, and they feel like, uncomfortable when they hear the word fermentation. Bacteria, you know, we want the good bacteria. How do we reach the good bacteria? We reach it if we have a pH level which is basically lower than 4.6. And most of the time, and you can write that down, I think it's a very important point, you achieve it when you have like a salt addition of 2%. So salt draws out the liquid of the vegetables through, it's called osmosis. And yeah, so also what happens also, we break the veggies, like the cell walls of the veggies. And this result is called pickled. Yeah, some say pickles, but that might be mistaken, you know, especially now we have like guys from all over the world, especially America, the US, like, or Canada, and in Europe, we mistaken this word. So yeah, I would say, let's call it pickled, and you know what I mean. Yeah, what's very often used in this pickling process are actually antimicrobial herbs, spices, like I could name a few, like mustard seeds, cloves, garlic, cinnamon. So they're among my favorite ones. And yeah, then another question would be, what can we actually pickle? You can actually pickle almost everything. And this is the beauty on it, you know. Yeah, pickles like include fruits, vegetables, fish, eggs, dairy, even meats. If you go to South Africa or actually all around the world, you will find it. Yeah, my tendency is like towards almost 95% vegan. So yeah, I'm leaving you with the meat part or the dairy stuff, but still you can play around with whatever you want. Like, and yeah, after you got the basic ferments, you can play around with spices, with herbs, with a lot of aromatics like bay leaves, jalapenos. So yeah, I'm really in love with Italy. I'm traveling quite often there, and I'm fascinated by their given spices like oregano, thyme, whatsoever. And later on, you will understand you can go for your own ferment. My personal favorites are like tepache, kombucha. I love yogurt, ginger beer, pickled veggies, figs, which I always do with a port wine vinegar solution. So there comes the bartender in me. You will see I work a lot with alcohol, and because you will left by a brine, which is phenomenal. You can do sun-dried tomatoes and honey fermented garlic, which I will talk about soon. Let's also talk quickly about the health benefits of pickling. Yeah, like, or not only health benefits, benefits in general, you know. So you will learn how to be more independent from wholesale markets and all the pricing systems. Also, they have an enormous health benefit for us. So yeah, like in our team, there are like guys from all over the world, especially we have like one from Japan. They use a lot with probiotic foods, and it's super interesting to see how different cultures involve all these pickling techniques. Yeah, so yeah, another thing is like, if you do the recipes right, ferments taste incredibly well, and they are more and more used by culinary, let's call them master chefs, I would say. Also, gourmet restaurants, the best bars in the world, implement the incredibly tasty flavors of ferments in their dishes and drinks, obviously. So we have a vegan concept, as you mentioned, in our bars. So yeah, you must bring way more flavors into your foods in order to make your stomach, I would say, dance like for the pleasure, you know. So with fermented foods, definitely we achieve that, and it also adds kind of a modern touch to the menus, even if it's an ancient technique. Yeah, for a reason today, like you can see on the food meccas around the world, always pickled food, and it's amazing. Also, it supports like the eat local, the sustainable food supply movement, and this is a very important point for us as well. I mean, we see what's going on in the world, so we have to focus more on that, I would say.
Local.
And yeah, definitely. And yeah, one of the last points, fermenting is super easy, and you know, you do not have to go too crazy, you know. Equipment wise, you don't need much. It does not cost you a lot. and it makes it super charming in my opinion, like that you don't need that much. So yeah, it's super easy, and it pushes the health level of the veggies. Like even the bacteria involved in the fermentation process, they're enormous important to our health, like especially for the digestion tract. And as you mentioned already, like the historical part, yeah, long before all of us, like in this session, have lived, it has been everywhere. You know, think about, as you mentioned, coffee, bread, wine, cheese, like many great deliciouses we really eat each and every day. They went through the fermentation process. And yeah, I think it's a big growing interest in it. And yeah, again, basically any food we can digest can be fermented. So there have been evidence of fermentation, I think, like more than 10,000 years in earlier vessels of wood, like biodegradable vessels and so on. And it's definitely an ancient practice.
So
I mean, they didn't. Yeah.
You're talking. I don't know if you want to answer some questions because some people are asking. So is it like what's probiotic, and is it a probiotic achievement to use fermentation in the process?
Yeah, definitely, and we will come to it a bit later. So I keep that. I didn't see the questions, but in case there are questions, you can interrupt me, please. But the probiotic thing, I will explain in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know what I wanted to say, that back in the days, in the ancient times, people didn't know about like the chemistry, what's going on, and you don't have to know too much about it neither. So you know, in school I was bad at chemistry class, but you know, you can still master pickling. It is just we fear the danger of disease and like the fear of the bacteria, and yeah, and I want to demystify it a bit, how simple and effective it is actually, you know, especially regarding food safety, which is the main part. Yeah, so basically, as we said, like we have these advantages of fermenting and pickling, no dependency on globalized food markets. Also, it represents kind of a survival part in me and everyone who is doing it. And yeah, you will find food basically to harvest everywhere in nature. And I found it in all the countries I lived. I lived in Norway. You know, we went to the nature. We picked blueberries. Or when I lived in Australia, we picked mangoes. We fermented them and we took them along with us on the way. In Germany, you know, I have amazing herbs, fruits, veggies everywhere. Like if I'm in the forest, and this is a thing everyone should keep their eyes open, and you will be surprised. Yeah, how many things you will find around us. What was that? What are the weirdest ingredients? Yeah, definitely kind of meat and like very weird animals I've seen which got fermented, and I didn't try them, but I know guys who try them, and I would not go that far. So so enough talking. I think now you guys want to see some things we can do. Yeah. But before a little bit more theory, actually, I want to recommend you 3 of my very favorite books, which will cover everything you need to know about fermentation. And the first one is the Noma Guide to Fermentation, an incredibly amazing book with a lot of useful knowledge you will find. And they cover definitely like most of the parts. So for bartenders and chefs, and even if you're just like interested in fermenting, go for this book. And awesome. Then I have 2 more books from the same author, is Sander Alex Katz, and one book is The Art of Fermentation, and the other is Wild Fermentation. And yeah, like the author, for me, he is like kind of the god of fermenting. Super humble human being, and yeah, he's known in, check out his TED Talks, I think in YouTube videos, like a lot of stuff where you can really learn a lot.
Could you say that name again, please?
Yeah, it's Sander Alex Katz. Like, check it out.
Okay. All right.
So amazing, yeah, intro and explanations also, and yeah, you will learn everything in a more detailed way than we can cover in 1 hour. So yeah, let's start with the fun part, I would say, like with our first ferments. Like, you know, let's start with, I thought we're gonna start with a super easy peasy lemon squeezy recipe, which is one of my favorites. And I got introduced to it by a friend of mine who is a German chef. Like, he has an Italian background as well, and is an amazing, passionate guy about food. And he introduced me to it, and it's honey fermented garlic.
Oh my God.
So
I love both.
yeah, it's really, really delicious. And yeah, this is like a golden advice for you all. Make sure to have many bartenders or chefs in your friend circle, and really your life will be more fun, because yeah, if you have some guys who are passionate about food, you will always learn something. And yeah, so let's get back to the honey garlic ferment. What will happen? So both flavors, like the honey and the garlic, actually infuse to each other. So the honey will taste like garlic and vice versa. And yeah, also the health benefits of this one is immense. So it's antibacterial, antiviral, and that means like it's an immune boosting property, which will you gain from it. For me, it's the perfect remedy, like a preventive remedy for the cold and flu season. So, and the best thing on it, you don't need a fridge for this fermentation. So you can do it each and everywhere you want. Yeah, also there are like powerful antimicrobials against infections in the mouth and also in the throat. And yeah, it's produced almost everywhere in the world. Like, you will have good quality honey everywhere. And yeah, this is how you do it. Get an amazing quality of liquid honey. So spend the money which you saved on this class, spend it for amazing honey. And yeah, go to your favorite beekeeper. Also an advice from me, always go for organic qualities. I don't know why we are rather investing more money in the packaging instead of like in our body. It's like, it's our engine, our body. So that's an advice. Go always for organic quality, or at least local quality, where you go to a farm and the guys, and it will result in way better ferments. Yeah. So yeah, what happens? The garlic, they will release the moisture into the honey, and so the fermentation will start. So the first thing, you either you peel your garlic, or you can even throw it in. I always peel it, because then I have once the work, and then I'm rather lazy. I just pick it, throw it into a curry or whatsoever. Yeah, but once you peel them, you just throw them into your honey and you stir it down. And this you have to do daily. You want to stir down the garlic daily, because it has to be covered all the time by honey. It will flood up naturally, but if you stir it in, you will not have any oxygen reacting with the garlic. Yeah, so it prevents you from mold, which you don't want. Also, I would tell you, leave a little bit of space in the jar, because you have to release the carbon dioxide, and it's going to be a mess. There's something working, it's working, and every one of us know what a mess honey can be. So yeah, and this is, you're going to do what you have to do. It's super simple. Once it starts bubbling, you have to release the carbon dioxide daily, and you have to do it very carefully. So burp the jar. So you can just use any mason jar or whatever you have at home. Just release it daily, close it with pressure, so you're not opening, not introducing oxygen. Super easy. You can easily age it for at least a year, but I doubt that it will survive more than half a year. It's super convenient, and yeah, I have to thank David for it, and you will thank me for that also, because it's an amazing ferment, super easy. So, and as I said, you throw it into a stew, into a curry, in whatsoever. Yeah.
In that jar, so there is only honey and garlic, nothing else?
Yep. Yeah. No, for the first ferment, you can do it. This specific here, I have a smoker, or a friend of mine has a smoker. He's a chef, and we smoke the garlic with sage. for example. But
wow.
there it comes into the point that you can be really creative. You know, you can use like garlic works almost with everything. So we will come to it. Not garlic, honey works almost with everything. I would use rosemary, for example. Whatever you feel free. You know, do different batches, and it's amazing. And also, what I want to introduce you guys, honey. You can use it also the juice here in a cocktail, for example. You know, whiskey and fermented honey, they pair heavenly. And I will do a quick cocktail for you so you see how easy it is. Also, you can eat it in between your dinner. Amazing.
You know, it's funny. For athletes, also, we drink pickle juice for as a high source of magnesium, I guess. So we don't cramp.
Yeah.
I've been drinking pickle juice for years. Well, not for years, for a little bit of
Nice.
time, because it keeps me from having cramps. So pickle juice is actually very interesting.
Super nice. And in the bar world as well, there's like the famous pickleback, for example, which you have like as a chaser. You know, I use it in the bar also with watermelon. If I have like the rind of the watermelon, if I fermented it, and then you have like slightly sweet pickle juice, and it's a super chaser with a tequila. I mean, we have tequila guys, but it works also like in the whiskey industry. They're using it as a pickleback, actually, just the brine of the pickles, and boom. I will introduce you later on also a version of a martini where you can actually use the pickle brine.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, I got a shaker, but you can also use any like mason jar whatsoever you have at home if you want to make a very, very simple recipe. So what you use for it, 5 cl of or 5 parts. Let's use parts because not everyone might be a bartender here. Of like a Scotch, but I'm using Scotch style. This is a Bavarian whiskey with a Pedro Jimenez. So I always look for the synergy. So 5 parts of it. Boom. Then you use like 1.5 parts or 2 parts. I mean, you can always play around, whatever you feel free. And it's heavenly smell. Like, believe me, I wish every one of you guys could try it as well. So I'm using 15 mils and also like a fresh organic lemon juice. I'm using 2.5 parts. Boom.
2.5 parts.
So basically, this drink is called like penicillin, but we twisting it with this garlic. And yes, now it's lockdown, so no one has to be afraid if you're like smelling. And even by the juice, you're not really smelling, only by eating the garlic. So this is a super nice way as well to introduce these flavors. Yeah. So use some ice.
I like the pictures you have in the background, Dalai Lama and Gandhi.
Yeah.
About that, what's that about? That's awesome.
It's our Hall of Fame, you know. Like, and yeah, hopefully I can soon welcome all of you guys in our bar, and yeah, we have ferments and other beautiful drinks with us.
Definitely looking forward to that.
So there we go. Super easy, three components. You can also use, if you want, like a little lemon zest, put it on. And there you go. That's how easy you can integrate a ferment into your drinks. And the smell is really amazing, pairing super well with the whiskey.
So wait, one more time. What's that called? I'm jealous. I wish I was there. What's that called again? That drink?
Penicillin is the original. This is like a twist on it.
Okay.
And I think it makes it even better, like because this honey garlic plays super well with a light whiskey style.
We're not going to sell that drink calling it penicillin. I think we should let's call it the Viking drink.
Yeah.
Because that is amazing.
Yeah, super easy, but amazing flavors.
I'm making that, honestly.
Nice. And it's so easy. So yeah, I mean, let's continue. And yeah, you know, there you can pickle almost everything. Even there is like pickled flavored beer on the market, but I would not go that far, you know. As a German heritage, you know, comes into the picture, we are like, okay, no, that's too much. I would maybe try it, but I would not do it myself. Yeah. But what we can do together now is like a ginger beer. And yeah, because it's super interesting and it's amongst my favorite fermented beverages. Yeah, basically it is naturally fermented probiotic drink which comes now. And probiotic basically is, it has a lot of healthy bacteria which benefit your body. And yeah, ginger is such a gift, you know. It's anti-inflammatory. And yeah, I think even studies say that ginger can fight different types of cancer. So it cleanses basically your body from toxic chemicals. But yeah, that's a probiotic definition, I would say. And yeah, I would use ginger more often, each and every one of us. Like, we would not use any chemistry. It's a point as well. I think the last time I had to go to the doctor, beside of some stuff like for work or whatsoever, was for me 7 years, I think now, or 8 years even, you know. And I believe it comes along with all the nutritions and all the food. And everyone can achieve that, in my opinion. Of course, there are like some circumstances there you have to, but food and drinking can really benefit you.
And the ginger you're talking about, is it the powdered ginger? Is there a specific type of ginger? I assume it's the root, or is there?
Yeah, like I will show you in detail.
Because ginger has different colors to it. Sometimes it's very white, sometimes it's very yellow. What is
Yeah,
it?
definitely it depends. You have so many different types of ginger. The one I use, because I cannot get my hand on different types of ginger, or sometimes, but at the moment we are not allowed to travel, so I'm using organic one, which I get in the organic shops. But I've seen, like, as you said, like ginger which is more tangy, some is more sweet, but basically you can use all of these different types of ginger. And yeah, it's super easy. Let's have a look how ginger beer is made, you know. Like yeast and like probiotics, they are naturally occurring everywhere, you know. Like, best example is, if you put, every one of us knows it, you put like some fruit in the corner, and suddenly it starts to turn bad. Like, yeah, this is basically a fermenting process. But what we want to have this fermentation in a good way. So, you know, something is going on with your food, but we have to stop it and feed the bacteria so it will stay in a good shape, let's say. So basically, what is ginger beer? Ginger beer is like a sparkling beverage with a sweet, tangy bite to it, which comes from the ginger. And what we do, we ferment smashed ginger. So I'm gonna give you like now a couple of steps. Actually, it's a 3-step. It's super easy. Yeah, the soul of Moscow Mule. Also, another drink which I prefer to the Moscow Mule, but that's a personal taste, is the Dark and Stormy, which is made with rum. And I can twist it always. I love to twist it with tequila, for example. But basically, yeah, there's like no rule to it. But yeah, Moscow Mule is a very well-known drink, especially in Europe. It's skyrocketing. So
here too.
Yeah, I write it down in case you want to try it with your ginger beer. But also, if you want a really nice alcohol-free beverage, the ginger beer is amazing. So
what's it called? You said it was a dark and dirty. What was it called?
Dark and stormy. Dark and stormy. Yeah, it's basically what you use. You use a dark rum. You use a slice of lime, and your ginger beer. And what I sometimes you can make it dark and stormy. So you pour first your ginger beer, your lime squeeze, put it in, and then you float your rum on top. So it gives like this kind of dark and stormy, like, you know, and on the sea, dark and stormy.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's check what's happening, you know, in the ginger beer. First step is you need the ginger starter. So I'm not talking about the powder, but fresh ginger. And how do you create it? You scrape off the skin of the ginger, and I recommend you for doing that, use like easy spoon, and then it's super easy to peel off. You know, I until a chef showed me, hey, why don't you peel it off like that? I don't know. I tried to do it with a potato peeler or whatsoever. It was always a mess. And then I was like, okay, this is, see how quick it goes. Boom, and you have like a easy peeled ginger. And I'm like, okay, I always messed up my kitchen. So yeah, we need a ginger starter. Some call it also ginger pack, you know. So you peel and grate around 1 tablespoon of ginger. I already did it, so it won't take too long. Yeah, then you need 2 cups of filtered water, and I will tell you later why I would use filtered water. Or basically, you know, it's non-chlorinated. That's very important. So exactly. So I'm using like a simple filter.
To filter.
Yeah. So you peel and grate 1 tablespoon of ginger. You add 1 tablespoon of sugar, and I'm always going for organic. I love to use cane sugar. So yeah, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of sugar, and that's basically it. 2 cups of non-filtered water, and then we add it into a jar. Super easy. What happens next? We covered the jar with a towel, and you can use like a rubber band or whatsoever, you know, which I have here. So you're not closing the jar actually, because again, something is going on. Demerara sugar, I mean, Demerara sugar you can use, but it gives you a bit more earthy flavor. I feel for ginger beer, I like to have more freshness, and yeah, I love to work with sugar cane, but you can use Demerara as well. I would not recommend it for ginger beer, but you can play around. Stevia, it is an option also, but it will make it way harder to work with stevia. And for me, stevia has a bit of own taste also. Not everyone loves stevia. What I like is birch sugar actually, like sulit, things like that. It's way more expensive, but yeah, feel free to try out like different batches, you know, as it does not cost you that much and it's super easy. Yeah, so you start it once you covered your jar with a towel and you secured it, so you know no insects go in. You can put your jar in a warm and dark place for at least 24 hours. So what will happen? The probiotics will be activated, all the bacteria will be activated, and the yeast. But in the ginger, there's a lot of yeast, and yeah, so this allows the whole thing to begin reproducing, you know. So we throw everything in with the 2 cups of water, 24 hours, cover it, and there's something going on. And what we have to do now.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Now, what we have to do now, we have to feed the bacteria like for 1 week, and you can do that like a teaspoon of sugar and a teaspoon of grated fresh ginger, which I just have done. Yeah, and you repeat that process like for a week. Stir it a couple of times a day, you know, so you incorporate the whole thing, and until like a white substance will occur at the bottom of the jar. Maybe you have seen that with ginger many times.
Yeah.
So on the bottom, and yeah, after like 3 to 5 days, it depends really what kind of ginger you use. I'm not measuring it. Basically, my measure is like a tablespoon, but you can measure it also, and then you have always the same taste. But I like to have it like a unique taste each and every time. Yeah, basically you do that, and after 3 to 5 days, when it starts bubble, it's fine. But when you hear this bubbling and this fizzling without stirring, this is a sign your starter is ready. So yeah, and after around, I think around 14 days or 8 to 14 days, it always depends what kind of ginger I used. Last time my friend, he's having a wife in the Philippines, and he brought me ginger, and it took ages, and sometimes you have to be really patient, you know, like it happened to me, and I was like, something is wrong. And no, sometimes you need to have patience. And
I see. Cheers.
Thanks. I wish I could share that with you. Like, this is the next technique. Yeah. So after 14 days, yeah, if there's any mold, by the way, always toss the whole thing. Like, this is very important. Start again. I know sometimes it's hard work when you create your ginger, whatsoever, your ferments, throw it away. You have to start again.
Gotcha.
That's very important. So next step for the ginger beer, you know, you need your 1 cup of the ginger starter. Then you need 1 cup of organic sugar cane. You need 3.5. You can basically alter that recipe on your taste. This works for me. Then I have like I think 4 liters, or like a bit more even, 5 bottles. I'm usually doing. Yeah. Then you need 3.5 liters of filtered water, a half cup of fresh lemon juice. So yeah, always go for organic quality. Always go for nice fruit. So yeah, you don't want to ruin your whole thing, and I will explain in a bit why. Okay. Then you need another 1 quarter to 1/3 of freshly grated ginger. Implement a bit more of this beautiful style, and you need a Kilner jar, like a big one. You can nowadays you can get them really for low price in almost everywhere. And if you see what you or yeah, it has like this specific one. I'm having a lot here in the bar flowing around.
Very cool. I won't.
Yeah,
I'm getting one of those.
So what you do, you put everything in this jar, all the other ingredients, and you stir well, and then you cover it with a towel or cheesecloth. Some heat it up before, but I like to leave it like that. It will take a bit longer, but yeah, I would say like 5 to 10 days normally. And you have to check your liquid every day and stir. You know, check it, alter the sweetness. A very important point also, the probiotics, like the bacteria, they will eat all the sugars. This is essential. So don't be scared of adding any sugar, because you need sugar. The bacteria need sugar. Otherwise, yeah, it can start molding, you know. So don't worry about it. Alter the taste. And also the fermentation, it gets acidic by fermentation. So yeah, the fermentation is basically ready when the substance becomes bubbly, you know, when stirred. And yeah, remember, we had this process already with a starter when it starts getting bubbly, and then you know it. Yeah, and once it tastes very well, you can still add a little bit more sugar, because you know we go for a second fermentation, as we have in a champagne bottle. It's very famous for the second bottle fermentation. So yeah, the probiotics need to eat more sugar, like the bacteria need more sugar. And yeah, add it to the bottle and store it in a dark place for 2 to 4 days. And this process will actually, yeah.
Sorry, what does that mold look like? Because I'm very worried I'm going to do this. I'm going to have mold in it.
No, you will definitely see when it's moldy, like 100%, because it's on the top and it looks disgusting. I never had any mold in my ferment so far, but I have seen it. Like when friends showed me, they're like, "Oh, something went wrong." But if you follow the steps, normally it won't occur, but you will see it, definitely. You will see it's not naturally looking mold, you know, like sometimes even green starts white with like white brown things. You will see it, believe me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely. So the ginger beer is ready when the substance is a little bit bubbly. And yeah, once it's ready, you add the sugar, you put it in the bottle, you strain it into the bottle, and then you put it for 2 to 4 days in a dark place. And yeah, it's important, you know, that you check daily the fizz level, because otherwise what happens, your bottle can explode. I've seen that with friends as well. Never happened to me, but especially if you do your ferment in a more warmer atmosphere, like in an apartment or depends. So what you can do actually, when you like the fizz, put it in the refrigerator. And yeah, but still be aware that your fermenting process continues. You know, it will get a bit drier day by day. Every day it will be a little bit more drier. And yeah, you can use it up in a couple of days. Meanwhile, you can also prepare your next starter, like for the next batch. And it's super healthy. and you can make amazing drinks. Like I can explain you the other drink, the dark and stormy, as I did. Also, what you can add add a little bit of angostura or other bitters to bring out flavors.
Bitters? You said
Yeah, bitters enhance like a bit of the earthy flavors, depending what kind of spirit you use.
okay.
Also, a thing is, before, like when you alter the sweetness and you fill it in the bottle, you can actually use some different flavors. Whatever, feel free to do whatever you want. Like I love, for example, strawberry basil, like in a London Mule with gin works amazingly well. Or another nice combination is like a grapefruit rosemary. Then you can use like a Mexican Mule. Feel free to do whatever you want.
That sounds so good, Simon.
And truly, it lasts up to 1 month in the fridge. But then it becomes really, really dry. I love very dry things, but it's yeah, always up to you. Yeah, be careful when you open the bottle. Let me see. Yeah, I actually even have a bottle, but I already fizzed it today. That's how it looks like. It's sometimes it's a bit lighter than the one you buy. Maybe sometimes it's darker, depending on if you peel off the skin or not. Yeah, I'm doing it still. I'm opening. Yeah, I could hear it now. I think you could not. It fizzes like a little bit. So yeah, this is how it looks. And amazing taste. And yeah, be patient again, like, because it seems yeah, sometimes the fermentation is very easy. You think, oh, it's never going to happen, and then suddenly from one day to the other you have a fermented ginger beer.
We have somebody in our audience that is making lemon ginger and I can't read what it says, but boy, that looks pretty good as well. What is that called, Lena?
I have many questions, but my English is not perfect.
Don't
I
worry.
try many fermentations here. I try for
Okay.
cold rice. I
That's-
try for this is the I don't know how to say trasvasar the tree fermentation here. This is the two fermentation. This is kombucha, and this is my kombucha too.
Okay.
This is
Nice.
different. I have many questions about the
Okay.
activity for my. This is fermentation, and the last fermentation is the
Lina,
December.
sorry, where are you?
Hi.
Lina? Lina,
Yes,
hello.
yes.
Where are you?
Hola,
¿Dónde
hola.
estás? ¿Dónde estás?
In Long Beach, California.
All right, Long Beach.
Nice.
Okay, Lena, you are amazing.
Muy
We're right back to
bien.
you in 1 second because we're gonna give the floor back to.
Yes, I have many questions, but it's
Okay, it's
difficult for
coming.
me because it's
It's
so
coming.
fast.
Okay, so we're ready for you. Sorry about that. Lena is amazing. She's got some great work going on there. So
Nice. I see.
we'll revert back to her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, what I will throw in now is a couple of tips which will definitely guarantee your success if you're starting with ferments.
Gotcha.
One is don't use wax fruits. No veggies or other food which is like grown with a lot of pesticides, because if you use food with a lot of pesticides, what happens? They do not have enough lactic acid and acid bacteria is left. So if you buy organic, it's always a good choice. Because what I said also, like, we should invest more in our body, in the food, instead of the packaging.
Absolutely.
Another thing is always rinse your veggies under the water. And yeah, also a very important thing is check if your ferments are under the water. Like, as I said, you stir it, because you want to have it always in an anaerobic environment, so you prevent the mold. Very, very important. I love to use like wine leaves, and I put like a stone or whatsoever you have. I have these copitas. I love to put them on top. So the wine leaf, the liquid, it's always covered in liquid. So this is a tip I can do, get you. Some do it without these leaves, but I love to use it. Yeah, then burp the glass. Like if it's too much, if you see there's some liquid running out, it's not bad, but you have to burp the glass, and you won't have. I had never a single glass broken so far, but some people say if you don't burp it, it might break. So it can happen because you have a pressure, obviously.
Of course.
You must disinfect and clean your jars, like with vinegar, or let them run through a dishwasher, what we have. Otherwise, all your work can be destroyed, and like unwanted bacteria destroy the organism which are needed for our process, and this would be very, very sad. Yeah, we need these bacteria to transfer the sugars into the sourness. Yeah, so definitely clean your hand all the time from dirt. But you can use your hand. You should even like use your God-given hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're unsure about ferment, well, I would always use like a scale. Nowadays, I'm very often eyeballing it. Yeah, I as I said, I never had like mold at my ferments. I know our grandparents, they had this gift that they just eyeballed everything. They didn't have like a scale. Sometimes actually I'm using it. We have it laying around in the bar as we do our coffee. We scale it, we weigh in, we weigh out, but you don't necessarily need it. Yeah, you can basically ferment as long as you want until you achieve the flavor you like it. This is the thumb of rule. Yeah, as longer you ferment it, as sharper and more acidic it becomes. I really love tangy drinks, so I love, for example, kombucha with an aged cachaça, or it's a super tasty combination. So yeah, I would quickly jump now in another sector of the bar. I'm a bar owner, and I feel very often we do not put enough respect to the food. So yeah, let's have a quick look at bar snacks. So yeah, a quick tip in between: if you ever find yourself anytime in London, make sure to visit the Pickle Guys. Like it's a joint in London, and these guys, they ferment truly everything, and yeah, really amazing things. So make sure if you're into fermenting and pickling, check out what they do, and you will have a lifetime experience.
And it's called the Pickle Guy.
The Pickle Guys, yeah.
Guys, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Super cool place. So make sure to pass by once this Corona thingy is over.
Will do.
Yeah. So let's have a quick look into lacto fermentation. What does it mean? It's done with the help of salt water, and it creates like a process known as lacto fermentation. It means actually you turn the salt water into an acidic solution. So for vinegar, pickles, salt is often added as well, So yeah, another tip I can give you: do it in small batches. If you do a big batch and then you play around with herbs, with flavors, and then you don't like it, you don't ruin it. Yeah, so for most guys, like sauerkraut or kimchi is the first thing which comes in our mind when we do things like fermenting. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I really love sauerkraut, but it can be sometimes a bit of a project to start with. If you're a beginner with lacto fermented foods, I would not recommend it to you because it can go off. It's really hard work. Yeah, but like for example, salt brine pickles, on the other hand, it's super easy to do, and it's ready in a couple of days. Yeah, like with sauerkraut, for example, it takes at least 2 weeks until you get your ferment. What I love with pickles, they're tart, they have crisp flavors. Let me see, I have a couple of them here. I have like cauliflowers, very, very simple. I love it as a bar snack, also as a garnish for cocktails. And there I have like a mixed pickle thing with, which I let.
That looks
this
so
one,
good.
this one was in the jar like quite a long time. Yeah, paprika, like pepper bell, and a couple of other things. I love it when it, for my personal taste, when it sits there and it gets a bit more acidic. But for the guest, if you serve it, I would start with a easy ferment. Yeah. So
Awesome.
you have to pack the jar tightly. It's a tip in the beginning before we have a look in it. Yeah, because then you have like a shorter fermentation time, you know, and also your pickles, they will look more appealing, like, or appetizing, you know, when you serve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you today also, like, the eye always like sends signals to our brain, like neurogastronomy. I'm obsessed with it as well. I just had a master class with a friend of mine about it, and yeah, it's
That's awesome.
super important in my opinion. And yeah, whenever you ferment veggies, like any bits which will float up the water, as I mentioned before, if you don't put a weight on it, make sure that you're throwing it away. Like, otherwise, yeah, it can be danger for your whole ferment, you know. So this is super important, I believe. You don't want to toss the whole batch, so toss the veggies floating on top. Yeah, so now the fun and creative part, you know, you can basically ferment everything you want. My favorites are carrots, radishes, beans, grated horseradish, chilies, peppers, tomatoes. You know, they're basically among my favorites. And my rule of thumb is I use usually like a liter of water, and then I make a 2 to 4% brine. So this, I think you can write down, because that's really a rule of thumb. A 4% brine makes it a bit more salty. I like that one for cucumbers, for example. Yeah, but I would use a little bit less, like for root veggies. So yeah, this is like a rule.
Do
But yeah, you
cucumbers
can.
shrink when you put a cucumber? Does it shrink over time, or what happens? Why are they so small?
Why there?
They're so small in the jar. You know, when you
I
cucumbers.
mean, that's a special type of cucumbers. Yeah. So you can use it also with bigger ones. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you find them on delicacy shops, markets. So yeah, but there are also the bigger ones, especially in Germany, like the Spreewald Gurke, we call it, like the cucumbers.
Yeah.
Around Berlin this time. So you find the bigger ones as well, which are more common.
Yeah.
But as they're better snack and more appealing, also they introduce the small pickles.
Yeah, because
Yeah, radishes, carrots. Yeah.
let's just say we go to a deli or something like that. You know, there's several types of pickles, and you know we always find that they taste completely different. Some of them have a different flavor. Is that because you add extra stuff in the water in the process, or
Yep.
why are they so different? I mean, I can have one that tastes perhaps a little bit more like, you know, dill, like the dill type.
Yeah,
Some
100%.
extremely spicy. Why is that? I think.
Yeah, because you can actually flavor the brine too, you know. So for example, I tend to add garlic, like a pinch of black peppercorns, coriander, mustard seed, dill flour. Yeah, I might throw in a chili or two, and or sometimes a couple of slices of onion. And this is like really the beauty of it, that you can make whatever you want. The basic is like, the basic is the brine. You make the brine, you boil 1 liter of water, and you add the salt. So you have either a 2 or 4% solution. Sometimes I'm eyeballing it, but then also in the beginning try to make it as accurate as possible, so you don't wanna mess around your ferment, and then you get put off with it, and you say, I don't want to do it anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you let it cool down to room temperature, and that's the whole trick, you know. Then you need a clean flip top jar or whatsoever. Like, either you use a flip top jar, or you can also use a mason jar which you close. Yeah, you can. There are even like, if you have enough money or you're fancy, you can use like airlock fermentation jars. I never use them because it works with other stuff as well. So, but what's important, you layer all your chopped vegetables and spices as you wish. You want them small, you want them big, it's up to you, until they reach the top, and then you add the brine, you know.
Gotcha.
And yeah, and then you place like a wine leaf on top. I love to, it does not necessarily have to be a wine leaf, whatever leaf you like. And I like the fresh wine because they release some tannins actually, and they keep the pickles crisp. So I like to play around with that, and we have it here in this region. Use whatever you get. If you don't have it, use a bit of cabbage. What's the important point is that you prevent the veggies from floating up to the top, which will bring mold. Yeah, basically that's the easiest part with pickles. And yeah, then you leave it somewhere in a warm environment, you know, because you can also use it in a cold environment, but that will slow down your ferment. And in this case, for pickles, it's okay if it like accelerates a bit. And yeah, and then you have the same thing. You burp your glass, so yeah, the bacteria start your fermentation process until they build up the carbon dioxide, and yeah, you release it. Yeah, you want to escape the gas. That's it. And always try to have a little bit of pressure on the lid when you open it. You know, otherwise it will float. So you would just introduce a little. You burp it exactly. Yeah, what will happen? The brine which you filled in, it will start getting cloudy, and this is a good thing, you know. After, let's say, around a week, the pickle flavors will start to develop, and I think 2 weeks is a good for me it's a good indicator. Then your pickles will start tasting very, very delicious and good. Yeah, at this point I would put my jar into the fridge. So then you want to slow down the process. And believe me, you will be really surprised how delicious your own pickles start. And it's, yeah, I don't know, you will be surprised. It's like such a pleasant tart aroma, which the brine, as you said, also has, like, especially when it fizzes a little bit like champagne, you know.
Yeah.
I have to throw that in because I'm too much of a bartender, and I love to play with emotional words. But it's a good example, I believe. Yeah, and if you try your pickles, also every time use like a very clean fork or equipment. This is very, very important. Always keep a clean environment, and yeah, it's super easy, you know. I prefer like a fizzier fermentation, which you will get like after a week or even longer. Some, like for serving it in the bar, I love to have a crispier flavors, which you get like after around 4 days. But like truly, this is the magic behind like pickles. Super easy. You can do it with, for example, with nuts, walnuts, cashews. Amazing. I got a recipe the other day, which was made with what's called a sambal. You know sambal. So I traveled to this year sambal oleg. It's like a Southeast Asian chili sauce. And the Dutch brought it back from the colonies back in the days. So
it's red, right? It's kind
yeah,
of,
it's red. Sambal oleg, it's called.
so
And
good.
yeah, and if you incorporate it with a bit of vinegar, sugar, you can use soy sauce or fish sauce if you fancy. Many other seasonings, and you know that the result is a sweet, spicy, nutty treat. Like really pairs amazingly well with desserts, or as a garnish for a stiff drink like a port wine, old fashioned. Yeah, so there comes the link with bartending. So yeah, by now you see it is super easy to pickle, and you can pretty much pickle everything you want. Like just make your local produce available all year long. So
Do you know what turnips are? Turnips? Can you
yep,
pick?
exactly.
Can you
You
pick?
can.
You can.
Super, yeah, definitely. I love to pickle them as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so really, what's for me very important, what you should take from this class, like each and every one, that pickling doesn't have to be intimidating. You can make it really easily also in the refrigerator if you follow a couple of rules. Yeah, it's a super way to add more veggies in your diet, like.
True.
And yeah, and as you said, you can utilize the juice as well, because it's so yeah, don't toss the brine.
Well,
Yeah, a spoon, as you said, like, and there's a saying, I think, a spoonful a day will keep the doctor away, like you
So
say
true.
with the apple.
Yeah, I rather go with this than the apple.
Yeah. Also, there's a drink, you know, like Sean Connery just passed away, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And what was James Bond's favorite drink? It's like a martini. And yeah, you can do a lot of cocktails which feature pickles or the pickling liquid. Yeah, I would recommend everyone like try a dirty pickle martini. You know, basically a dirty martini. You use the olive brine, but you can use it with, let's say, the cauliflower paste. You can use it, or I have some fig and port wine fermented. Super amazing for desserts, and the brine for drinks. Like you do a Manhattan, which is whiskey based. Super amazing. Yeah.
Tell us about that, because I love port, I love figs. What is that about? That's amazing.
So this is like super easy ferment as well. So you boil your vinegar, you add some port wine, you add some herbs or spices, whatever you want, like cardamom. You could use star anise, whatever fancy your palate.
Anise.
Throw it in, and you get like slightly acidic notes. Super nice approach to this to fix, like, yeah. And then you use it, the brine, you can use it with whiskey, add maybe another touch of sweet vermouth, which is for me, or even dry vermouth, which is the unsung hero. And yeah, you will be left with really, really delicious, stunning drinks. And you can salute Sean Connery.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing that. That's amazing.
Yeah. Another favorite of mine are pickled blueberries. Super amazing, you know. That's a treat as a food pairing. For example, I love to do food pairings, as you mentioned already. You can do it with, if you eat cheese, you can do it with goat cheese. Amazing. It just pairs fantastically well. Like, you know, the tangy fermented berries. Yeah, if you want to know more recipes, you know, you can connect with me through social media, through our Facebook account, Mucho Amor Cafe and Bar, or my private account. And I'm happy to share all the recipes, because I believe this is not like a secret. It's like a gift we should share with each and everyone. I have another item.
Muchoamor.com, right?
Muchoamor.de is our homepage.
Gotcha.
I mean, we owe the other domain as well, but we will link it in the next weeks, because it was not supposed that we have it that quick, but now the whole thing with the lockdown and everything accelerated it. So it's a good thing also that you do things which you didn't put the focus on. Here I have another thing, which are lemons. I got them. I'm doing them myself also, but I'm doing the bigger ones. These ones I got in Morocco. I was traveling this year to Morocco.
God.
And yeah, it's so amazing. Like on the big market in where was it? Yeah, in
Agadir.
Essaouira it was like. And I have a friend, he's a chef. And he was actually at the same time as me in Morocco, and he was like, let's go to all the markets. And I'm really blessed, thankful, and that's the advice I told you. Get in contact with as many chefs and bartenders, because we love to share our knowledge and all that.
So cool.
Yeah, I mentioned also the water, like that you use filtered water, because the most municipal waters, you know, they can contain chlorine or chloramine, fluorides, and like a whole lot of other chemicals, and they're not ideal for lacto fermentation. I mean, the amazing thing is you can still likely to have success with the fermentation, because the fermentation process, it removes also toxins and pesticides from the food and the brine. But yeah, best start and set up as clean as you can go. So with a easy filter, you can have a lot of success. Another thing, yogurt, natural yogurt, I love. So this is, I bought it extra for doing it, but you don't necessarily need like such a thing. Well, it was like a couple of $, but it keeps like basically the liquid around in a steady temperature. So you heat it up, and then you throw in, like I can show you. Like you have a box, and inside you fill like milk. I'm not drinking animal milk, but I used like almond milk. Throw it in, and then you need again something as a starter to get the fermentation started. You can use basically yogurt, which you already bought, like in an organic shop or wherever in the supermarket. That's it. Then you wait. First, you put it in a more warmer environment, and then you wait until it starts like getting active. Like the bacteria converts the lactose in the milk to like lactic acid, and yeah, that's your yogurt. And you can accelerate it actually with like probiotic pills. So basically it's like you start with it a live bacteria, you know. So I love to use it. Thank you, Igor.
Coconut milk?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I love it with coconut milk. It's one of the best results actually you get.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and the nice thing of it is, you know, you have like no unnecessary ingredients in your product. You know, check the labels of everyday yogurt, and you know, you will agree with me. There are a lot of things you don't even know what it is.
That's right.
And I love to have my food as clean as possible. So yeah, so you can use like a starter,
Yep.
but you don't necessarily have to. Yeah, so you sterilize your equipment, you heat the milk in a saucepan to like 80 degrees, which is like, here guys are in the US. What's the difference? 95 is the difference, right?
No,
So
sorry.
it's 175, 180, 175 Fahrenheit, I think.
How many degrees?
80 degree, right? It's
right.
It's
Exactly.
95, yeah. So it's 175 Fahrenheit. Yeah. And then you set it aside, you let it cool down like until you reach, let's say 45 degrees roundabouts.
Oh, that's
which again, that's like a task for you guys. It's after 2, so my brain, it's like 140 Fahrenheit, right? I think, yeah. 95,
you're used to it. You had a bar for so many years.
Yeah, but now I always lived in countries where we had Celsius, but hopefully one day I might be in the US as well. Like, I love to be everywhere.
I hope so.
Yeah, so then exactly after you put it together, you wrap the jar or whatever vessel you use. I use this special vessel. You wrap it in a towel, or you can also use a rice cooker, but I love to have it like naturally, so I don't need any electricity. Yeah, just keep it in a warm condition, like for around 10 hours, and then you can transfer it into the fridge, like for another at least 20 hours, I would say. And then, boom, you pour the liquid on top away, and you have a beautiful probiotic yogurt.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, awesome. I have one more thing which I want to introduce to you guys, which is kombucha.
Oh yeah.
And what was it, Irina? I think she already showed us a little bit of the
yeah. Lina,
her.
do you have kombucha?
I have many questions, but it's difficult for me. I do my kombucha, but when I need to eat something for eat, or no, for
eating, or
cuando le doy algo de comer a ella.
When you give food.
When I give
more food or sugar.
More food is difficult for me to understand if it's correct or not. Just I put sugar or tea or something, and I can look the activity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know when it's correct or not.
So
now look, I can look. It's good. Sorry for my Spanish, but
okay.
I can look now. It's good, but in many moments I'm so confused. For example, now this situation is strange for me because it's not in the same.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I know. It's not.
Yeah, it's so difficult for me.
So basically, what happened? you had like two scobies, like one scoby came out and then they combined to each other. So yeah, like I have it here, like you see it in this kombucha, for example. I just picked it's starting as well. It was basically super perfectly layered. And then if your scoby gets enough sugar, of course it loves this environment, and then you get another one. And normally you can separate them, you clean them and put it in another jar, but you didn't do it, so they combine to each other. It's not a bad thing.
The
it's
other
not,
question is, can I clean with, ¿cómo se dice? Como,
just water,
como
like
con
just
huevo,
water.
como la clara del huevo.
Can you clean with egg white?
Egg white?
Egg
Can I
yolk?
clean with egg white?
Egg white.
I never heard, but what do you want to clean with the egg white? Why? I would always use like water, tap water. You run it, and then you remove the black stuff.
Just
then you
I
put
put
it
the egg white for clean. I don't know.
I never heard
Just
about
I
it.
read something.
No, I'm sorry. I never heard about it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay.
Lina.
Hola.
Si tú
Hola.
quieres, hola, si tú quieres, nos puedes pasar todas las preguntas que quieras y nosotros se las traducimos a Simon. Todas las
Ay,
dudas que tengas.
gracias, estoy tan
Claro que
confundida y estoy
no
empeliculada
te
con todo el
preocupes.
tema de la fermentación, pero tengo demasiadas dudas.
Of
Y es muy
course you can
difícil.
send. Yes, she says that this is so difficult. This is the art of fermentation. So she have a lot of questions, and
Tengo
she will
miso,
send Simon
do-
tengo
questions.
miso, tengo kombucha, tengo koji
She have miso,
rice,
kombucha.
tengo
Okay, so you are
todo.
fermenter lover. Eres un amante de la fermentación,
Sí,
¿eh?
me encanta, quedé picada,
Muy
porque yo
bien.
soy estudiante Gato Dumas y ya me gradué esta semana, entonces estoy como
she
con ganas de más.
studied. So are you studying cooking? ¿Estás
Yes, I'm
estudiando para
bartender too.
cocina?
Mi graduación es de bartender, realmente.
Amazing.
Bartender. She's going to
Nice.
graduate from bartending. Yes, so she
Fantastic.
have a lot of questions. So, yeah, she's going to send it. She's from Colombia, of course.
Yeah.
Colombia.
What you can do, you can write down all the questions, and then I can.
Sí, que le mandes todas las preguntas. Se las
Listo,
escribes y él con
perfecto, me
muchísimo gusto
encanta
te las
porque fue una
responde.
de mis profesoras las que me sugirió la clase de ustedes y me encanta realmente porque además practico inglés.
Okay, so
Pero es
one
muy
of her
rápido para
teachers
mí, pero
suggests this
quiero
class.
decirlo todo.
So, ¿quién fue? ¿Carolina Parra o Olguita?
Olga.
Olga Herrera, okay.
Olga Herrera,
So one
sí.
of Gato Dumas' teachers said, Lina, to get into Sommtable's Simon SommClass.
Nice.
So this is amazing because, yes.
Acá tengo miso
Yes,
también y tengo un montón de preguntas para el miso, tengo un montón de preguntas para kombucha, tengo un montón de preguntas para todo.
Miso, kombucha. Of everything. Okay, so Lina, mándanoslas con muchísimo gusto. Te voy a dejar mis datos y se las mandas y yo se las envío a Simon con mucho gusto y te las enviamos traducidas.
Me encanta porque me quedaría más claro y no interrumpo tanto la clase con preguntas que seguramente van a tener más trascendencia para mí y para ustedes.
Don't worry, esta es la familia Sommtable. We are like that way. Aquí somos nosotros.
Sí, me encanta.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
All right. So we're back. So now I love by the way, yours had a beautiful color. Did you also put different spices in there as well?
That one, let me check. That one is like organic green tea, which I used, and it's super simple ferment. Basically, what you need a SCOBY, which is your kombucha bacteria. I have another one here. This is a quite massive one, if you see it.
Yeah.
So you need this one, and the bacteria basically does all the work, Then you need a starter, which is basically, if it's your very first time, it's a kombucha drink, which is already
very good for you.
Done. Yeah. Yeah. It's good for you, and it's already like fermented. So you need 10% as a starter, and then you put your SCOBY in there. Then you need, I do it with like a liter of water. This is my ratio, which always works, and everyone say, wow, this tastes super nice. Which I use with 8-gram organic tea. And you can use like from rooibos tea to green tea. I love this. These are my all-time favorites, but yeah, play around with it.
Wonderful.
And then you over extract it like 15 to 20 minutes, so you get all these beautiful tannins in it, basically like a similar with a wine. And I use 80 to 100 gram raw sugar cane. And don't be put away, or it's a lot of sugar, 10%, it's like a Coke. No, in the end result, it won't, because your SCOBY will eat most of the sugars. And very important is that you don't move too much, you know, like after 10 to 16 days, it's perfectly balanced, in my opinion. And then you can leave it even for a month, 2 months, nothing will happen. It will get more sour, but then you can use it and do it all over again.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this is like the all the secret of kombucha. I had like a friend, she told me I had like mold on it. I said, okay, then throw it away. Don't play around. Don't play with your health. Throw it around. I mean, I know the SCOBY might be a bit expensive. I think it's like $15 or $20, but it's not that much. If you see, you can every week produce it. You can do it all and over again. So it's a fantastic beverage, and they say it's one of the most healthy beverages in the world. Like very, yeah, like a lot of antioxidants, and yeah, I love to have it in the morning. Like every morning, drink a bit of kombucha, do my workout or whatsoever. So yeah, basically, I could get you a lot of different recipes, like for spring onions, for curry fermented cauliflower, a lot of different ways. But this was basically the summary of the introduction, you know, for the beginners, and also for guys who knew a little bit. But I hope that cleared up a little bit about fermentation for all of you guys.
I personally, I'll open up everything to you guys to make your comments, but this is a whole new world for me. I knew about so many different ways of cooking. I didn't know so much about fermentation, even though I've been drinking kombucha. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know, tell you, 25 years now.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that what's interesting is what you've opened us up to. You've opened us up to being able to be a little bit more free in experimenting new things, you know, be it with different sugars or the different process, or even whatever things you want to pickle. And I love that. I love you mixed it with the bar.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really key. So for me, I learned so much. I'm going to keep following. I want to do more classes where you also, I understand you have a kit that you can use at home, and that's really just amazing. Really amazing.
Awesome. No, I'm happy. Like, even I said to myself, if only one guy will gain some knowledge, I think I'm happy, because, you know, and it's also, I'm only giving you the tools. It's not my ferments. You can really basically do whatever you want. Like, you want to throw in some mustard seeds, go ahead. Don't overdo it in the beginning. Keep it simple, I would say, as a rule also. But basically, you can do whatever you want, and yeah, follow your instinct. Yeah.
Con mucho amor.
Mucho amor and mucho amor. That's the secret ingredient.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And yeah,
Do we
if
have
you have
questions? Do you want to see if anybody else has
definitely
Igor? I know Igor. You are an chef also in London.
Igor is the chef. Yeah, I could tell by the way. Yeah, and this is the beautiful thing. I'm always in, like, when I was living in Scandinavia, like the fermenting scene is quite big and massive, and I learned a lot from chefs. I had a lot of chefs in my friend circle, and yeah, I'm really happy for it. Like, all the new things I learn, and it's our body. We only have one life, you know. So
That's right. That's
we invest more in our body. This is my advice.
Oh my gosh, I am so thrilled that you were here with us today. Maria, thank you for this wonderful relationship that you brought to us. Another one, another great find, amazing. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to chime in. I know we have people really late in the day, so I don't want to.
Yeah, like here.
You're like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's like 3:30.
That's amazing. But thank you so much for all you've done for us today. We're going to keep following you. We're going to keep, hopefully bring you back with another cool class like this.
Yeah, and let me know how your ferments went. Like, I'm very curious if you're gonna do some of them.
I know I will. I know Maria will too. Right, Maria?
I'm so grateful too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry for my Spanglish, but
no problem.
No, don't worry. That's not an obstacle.
Your energy.
It's so fun for me. Yeah,
I
feel so good for listen that because it's so important for me. I'm so empeliculada. I don't know how to say in English, but it's so good for me.
Nice.
Perfect Spanish. Right,
She's so excited about fermentation.
Yeah.
I mean, really fermentation lover. So she don't know how to express how she loves fermentation methods. That's the way.
Yeah. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Well,
you're welcome, Barbara.
Thank you, guys. Philippe, everybody, Barbara, everybody we see here in our class today, Gigi, Igor, Liana, Lena, everybody. I want to wish you guys happy holidays. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We'll be serving some new classes very soon. Please spread the word. And again, like Simon says, mucho amor. I'll leave the last word to you, Simon. Kick it off with the last word.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And like, keep going, have faith in the future. Even we have like very hard, desperate times, but like, believe in yourself, believe in your friends, and I leave it like with a mucho amor. Yeah.
Mucho amor para todos.
Mucho amor.
Mucho amor para todos. Exactamente.
Mucho amor.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Feliz Navidad a todos.
Feliz
Gracias.
Navidad.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.